Hello, hello, hello. This is your man, Nicholas Shephard from the Shephard Enterprise, Business Administration, Information Systems Consultants. And what I'm here today is what I'm doing. I am doing the second part of a 5-1A part, okay, of it's going to be page 5A, okay, factor to approve funded account. The first one that I've done, it was basically, I was actually trying to find out exactly what I needed in order to finish up my, of course, the project sample. Okay. So, what I'm going to do basically, I'm going to include that video into this video. So, I'm going to kind of like speed it up so that I don't have to be going over the whole video, but yet I'm gonna talk about it, okay, as I start going through a lot of the scenarios dealing with it, okay. So what I'm going to do basically, I'm going to get ready to start it right now. So what I'm gonna do first of all, I'm gonna try to go over some of the things that I was discussing. Um, now, which is going to be in a video, but I wrote this information down, and I'm just doing a continuation of what I already did. Now, the whole thing was based on what I was actually doing, and what I want to do was to figure out how was I going to initiate the factoring process of a customer that's has been who has come to our organization and requested us to do some type of work for them. Okay. um, and at this particular point, it's not really a project, but what it is that it's just a request that we can review some information for them to see if we can um, come up with a better ideal in how to correct an issue. Okay, so in that, I wanted to. I started working on it, and then I started to think, well, what I'm gonna need to do whenever I'm talking to a client, okay, because the person, okay, I started a time uh, entry form, okay, clock in to clock out, and that brought in all types of other ideals that I had. Now, I already had some type um, of time documenting form, okay, but the time clock entry form would be something that I can use as well in my application so I can keep tabs on what's going on. Okay. Now, the whole thing is that once a customer comes to us, all right, and you know, before I even try to do any type of work with them, first of all, I got to find out, are they capable of paying the fees? All right. Now, if a customer cannot pay the fees, then there's another factoring process that we can go with. And basically, that factoring process is based on if that client have a skill set that we can use, all right, and we do not currently have. If I can do work for this client, and in turn, if we need this client to work on a process related to a, a skill set that they have, then we will call them in to work off whatever work we did for them. Okay, as far as costs, all right, they will still get paid, but it's just like a hand in hand type of thing. Okay. Um, and it won't be like forever ever thing, but we will pay the person. Okay. All right. So what I want to do was I'm not gonna go through all this because I'm gonna go straight to the video, and then I'm gonna be fast forwarding the video, and then I'm gonna go off into what I discovered. Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna start the video. Okay. And once I start the video, I'm gonna switch it back. Hello, hello, hello. This is your man Nicholas Shepherd from the Shepherd Family Enterprise Business Administration and Information Systems Consultants. And today, what I'm working on basically is my excuse me. It's pretty early. I've been up since about, oh my goodness, about 2 o'clock in the morning. I've been trying to gather information to the project manager. The project manager then reviewed the information that he has received from the consultant, and then goes back to the consultant and it makes sure that the ideal that the client has equates to the cost it would take to initiate the whole project. Okay. Now, once that has been verified and the client gives us the go ahead to go through, the first thing will happen is that that account will go to accounting. The accounting department will verify whether or not the customer has the funds available to pay for the project. Okay. Now, this whole process is based on factoring, which I'm working on now. And the factoring process whole role is to gather information to determine how much effort at the cost we will put into that client's project. Okay. Now, there are different levels, okay, of technology and concern and documentation that we would do at the cost. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be undercutting the customer. We're going to give the customer the best results for the cost that they expected to pay us. All right. And this is over a period of time. This is not all, it's not going to be at one big lump sum. It's over a period of time. So, what we must do as a company is to make sure that this company can either finance the project or we can help that customer get financing so we can work on the project. Okay. But the end result is we want to make sure that all information is documented and the customer is issued an invoice based on what we have done, as well as okay, we've been having problems with technical problems with the we was having technical problems with the video and everything like that. I don't know why, but we're gonna work project we're gonna work through it. Okay, okay, and which we went over as far as my project manager database, and we have the 5 phases of a process. Okay, with the 8 different tasks per phase. Okay, so we will go through those different phases and tasks with the client as we move forward. Okay, making sure that we are on track, make sure that everyone is on the same page, and if there's any changes, we make the changes before we move on to the next stage, and etc. Okay, so this whole process has to be locked down. All right, because once we start clicking buttons and putting information, after that, everything will be based on reports. Okay, that we would no longer need to engage in the database other than generating reports because everything else will be done with a click of a button. Okay, and be based on a calculation that we create that's implemented into our system based on factors. Okay, that we already set. That's why it's taking a little bit longer because number one, there's a lot of different factors that I haven't even thought about yet, because I want to make sure I'm trying to narrow down what's going on and make sure that the tables that's supposed to be impact are viewed, and the information from those tables are pulled in to create a factor, okay, whether or not this customer is a reliable customer. Okay, what I'm going to do right now, okay, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to stop this right here, and I'm going to show you exactly where I am with this particular part of the factoring process, and make sure my photograph is being active. Okay, so dealing with the factoring process. So what I was doing, okay, based on um, a couple of tables, all right, and I'm gonna go straight down to it. All right, so what I was doing, okay, I was looking at this table here, and I actually switched one table out and brought a new table in. Now, I'm gonna run this query here, okay. So once I ran this query, I seen that at first it wasn't the way I was joining the table, it wasn't pulling me this last record. It was just pulling me the first three records. Now, the factoring process, all right, is based on, again, once the process have went through the approvals, okay, so the client call us, we document in our system that the customer wants service, we take in their requests, right, and we give them a cost, all right, of how much it will be for us to work on the project, okay. Now, the factoring comes in is the cost, right? So we'll gather some information from the customer to find out whether or not they're able to afford the whole process after we finish talking to them, okay? So this is an assumption. This is an assumption that I come up with, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do, which I have here, okay, I'm gonna go back to this table. Okay, we have the customer counts, right? Because after it went through the customer client form, which is, let me see if I have it up. I don't think I have it up. Okay, after we come up with this form here, okay, now this form that we have here, okay, okay, this form that we have here is basically, and I'm gonna go to the form, the one that we was dealing with, okay. Um, As you see here, there's no customers, account status, the service agreement wasn't started, it's the accounting action, it's active the corporate account levels of active. That means that this is in a stage where they are actually working on this particular this assignment to see whether or not we will work with this client. Okay, so there's no project number, there's no project set sequence number, anything like that. So we haven't started the fact that there's no contract agreement number, anything. But what we do have, all right, is these things here. These are the indicators. So we said the project build status, built not started, approved project status, not authorized, project funded status, project not funded, project condition, qualified client, customer account, order number, action, engaged for project work. So it has went through the process, okay, it's engaged, right? So what we have done after we put all this information in, okay, what we need to do, we need to figure out what information we're going to utilize to to trigger that this client information need to be factored, okay. So I have the four records here, all right. And as I go through this, I was looking at a couple of things, okay. So number one that I noticed, okay, there's no corp ID. Now the reason why there's no corp ID and the new pending ID, now this new pending ID, once it goes to a process, which I'm going to go back to find out exactly where the process is, because I already have the query for it already. This table, okay, is supposed to be updated with a new pending account ID, which a new pending account ID, as we see over here, okay, we will make it 10. All right. Now this right here went to 9 because of the fact that we once it went into the project managing phase, it went to 9, and that means that there's a project being built with this. Okay. So if I look at this and I go down, it should be a project number assigned to this. Okay, the project number. It should be a project number. Ba, 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 ba. It approved. Approved. Has everything been approved? Payment code has already been identified. Finance officer email. And there's no costs associated with this yet. Okay, build project phase. Okay, but is there a project number? I'm just trying to see, is there a project number? Okay, all right. So there isn't a project number because we haven't started working on the project yet. Okay, so and then I don't think I even actually pulled that information in. So what it is that's just something that we have. I can actually look at it. I can actually come to this particular form right here. But see, the project will not be engaged at this level. You understand? Because by the time the project number appear in a customer form, that means it has been through the process, has been approved, everything else of that matter. All right. So um, I can look at this, right? And I think there is a project number in this table. Let me see. Let me look down, go down, go down, go down. Let me see the project number. I'm going to do just to see. And it may not even be necessary, okay? Build project status. Did I have a build project status in here? And see what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to be utilizing in the factoring process. Okay. Build project status. Okay, this right here is project not funded. Okay, so this right here is project not funded. Okay, this is a qualified client. Now these two clients right here, even though it's qualified and everything like that, there's some other things that were initiated in this that it didn't, that first one didn't go through. Okay, but that's a different factor. Okay. So let me see here. Okay, so these two here, all right. Okay, well, what I'm doing is this right here. This right here, we want to figure out exactly when is this going to be factored. Okay, so we have this table here, all right, and as you see here, these are the tables, and this all the information, corp office ID, and I will look at this right here and see there's a corp office ID here. All this information will have to be populated before we actually initiate work with a client. So if I look at this here, um, this right here has it's in this table right here. Okay, you got 2, 9, and 2, 9, and 10. Right. Okay. These are phases. These numbers right here are phases in the project. okay, when we start completing them. All right. So that's what these numbers are for. So this is how we're going to go about factoring. We have to build queries based on these factors. Okay. This is the initial phase. All right. When a customer first call in. The second phase would be actually assigning the project. All right. Okay. To a client. Right. And this right here would be setting up a build. Right. Okay. And then we're going on and on. Okay. But um, these two have not proceeded into the build as of yet. Okay. So that would be a factor, right? And it's okay. Why have these not went forward? Okay. So when it goes into this table right here, we want to know why these two didn't go forward. All right. So what I would do, and I'm not going to do it yet, okay, because I'm looking at it, I'm talking through it. This is how I do my evaluation. Okay, I look at them and I find out why they are not being evaluated, why we have not moved forward on them things, right? So one of the things is that it may not be a group name, right? So we're looking for the ones that only have a group name. Them the ones that we be factoring and do not have a project group name ID, right? So the group name is not null, right? You understand? Well, the group name is null, okay? And that's the first thing we have to look as a factor, right? Because right there, but this is later on in the phases. I know I'm going forward too far. I'm just thinking my way through it. There's no project request number, right? Okay, so that means that this haven't even been initiated, okay, to even be considered to be worked on yet. Okay, these are factors, right? Um, the finance officer did not approve it. Okay, the account manager did not approve it. These two right here, they not approved, right? So these two have not even been evaluated, right? So them are factors. So I'm gonna pull them back in different queries, all right, to find out why these records have not been pushed forward. All right. So again, I'm gonna start the video again, and we're gonna talk our way through it a little bit more. But I just want you to see what was going on. Okay. I created another query. All right, accounting customer counts. Right. And when I ran this query, I want to see exactly what was actually in this table. Right. So um, in this particular table, all right, is where we get the information from the where's it at? Boom, 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 boom. We're getting it from, is it tracking? Make sure. Count tracking project. No, it's not tracking. Anyway, um, it's one of the counting tables. Okay, so and I have to close the table out in order to see it. Okay, let me see this right here. Let me see this one. It's a corporate. Okay. So anyway, the mass accounting customer accounts, and once we look at this table right here, we see that these tables right here, with these records right here, are actually been approved. But we need to figure out, at what point will we put in this next record? Okay. Um, and all these tables have to be factored. All these different customers have to be refactored. Okay. All right. And everything has to be reset. And all that's going to be reset in the factoring form. All right. So again, we're going to go along in the video a little bit more. Okay. To see exactly what's going on. Once we do that, we're going to see where we need to be at. Okay. So let me go ahead and deactivate this. trying to do something right quick. Okay, so here, and we'll start a video again to see what Mr. Shepherd is. Or if the customer has the ability to pay, have the financial stability to pay us, and there's other things. So, and it all starts with, as I explained before, is when the project manager engages the customer. Okay, and that is in the project manager's worksheet, right? So I'm gonna bring this form up, and as I was saying before, once this information here is assigned, all right, once this information is assigned, all this information is here, okay. We have the resources, which you see here. We have all the resources that we need for the project leader. The approvals are in place. We have the project group name ID, which we don't have. We have the group name, but we don't have the group name ID. The project group name ID will initiate the project manager to start working on the project. That means that all the factors have been considered, and now we are able to work on that project. Okay. Now we are still in the development stage, initiating, the designing, a lot of different things because right now we're not doing any coding. Okay, because we're using macros. We want to make sure the macros work. The coding part is going to be very easy. Okay, but the buttons, clicking, and initiating this, initiating that, that is something we have to be assured because we don't want to put a lot of code into something and find out it's garbage. All right. You want to make sure the application work, and then you design the code to mimic what is actually happening with the macros. Okay. Got me? So we create a different database, same setup, and we start coding it. So if I put in this information and I push a button, this is supposed to happen. We're going to make sure that happens in the code. Okay. You understand? But we're a little ways from that right now. The reason why I'm not coding because for that, this database, okay, at no time will we be able to work at our capacity, be able to work over X amount of projects at a time, okay, with the team we have, unless we outsource a lot of our projects, okay. Now, if we outsource a lot of our projects, then we have to create a subsystem that the client would have to utilize and push us back the file so we can download it, so we can monitor exactly what they're doing. Okay. Of course, there will be a consultant assigned to that task. That would be that project manager of that other team or the other company will report to. Okay. All right. So, what it is that once we have elevated a project, okay, to a stage where is being financed. All right. At that particular time, the project group ID will be assigned. Okay. Right now, we know how many people we need. We know the factors. We have the count number. Okay. We have a project number, everything like that. But all this. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to um, I want to bring up something, okay? And what I want to bring up is make sure I got my thingy in place. Activate. Um, okay, so what I'm doing, okay, basically, all right, and based on what the video was actually talking about, all right, in this particular form, this worksheet, assignment worksheet, and let me see if I can bring that in the worksheet, assignment worksheet. Where is it? Assignment worksheet. Worksheet project form. And edits it. Make sure that we look at the same thing, same worksheet. Okay. So once we bring this in, now I just want to make something clear. All right. Um, Once the project has been assigned, okay, and we have went through the factoring process, okay, and the customer has a project group ID, which will be assigned by the accounting department because that uh, project group ID will be it will be assigned a ticket, right? You understand on the accounting side, saying, okay, now we have a contract with this customer. We have an agreement. Okay, we have agreement with the customer. We have a contract with this customer. This customer has a project. This contract. I mean, this project is being monitored, and this is what we are assigned to do. And then we start monitoring that project based on the project group ID and who is actually working that project. Okay. Now, as I said, and well, what I'm going to tell you in the video, everything will be based on reporting. And so once we get all this together, all we're going to do is run reports, look at reports, see what's going on, and then a lot of the information will be conversation. Okay, you understand? Document outside of the database. All right, because once everything's in the database, all the thing the database will be used for is a monitoring system and report generating system. Okay, once we get everything in place. All right. So, but the main thing is making sure all the bells and whistles and everything is together before we start on the project, and that's the reason why I'm going over this with you. So when we run the report, everything's available. I was working with GE Aviation for like I was about I'm gonna say close to 7 8 years as a senior technical leader. And they had a project management system for their aircraft engine assignments, and you know, to me, it was really shitty. You understand? But these are engineers. They given something, they make use of it. But the way they was using it, I don't know. It was really shitty. Okay, but hey, Um, that's them. They paid for it and stuff like that. And I seen a lot of errors in it, but I couldn't do anything because I was a consultant there, and my job wasn't to tell them what their particular application was doing. Okay, because I was working on a different project, and I wasn't in charge of that. So whoever assigned that project application to them, of course, they got paid for it. So I'm not gonna spit on their money, what I'm saying, that they was making, especially if I didn't have anything to replace it. What I'm saying. Okay. So anyway, and there's no telling how long it took them to create that because they probably had to do a whole lot of upgrades, updates, and stuff like that, based on what's going on. All right. So anyway, once all this information is put in here, which would be a factor, all this information had to be filled in. Once all this information is filled in, all we're doing is generate reports. Now, once all this information is in here and I click Save Record, it will go into a historical table, right? Um, which a lot of these tables don't have the historical part yet, but it'll go into a historical. It will update the current table and then push the current data or that record that they're working on into the history table, okay, or the reporting table. All right, and the reporting table will be used based on a group of factors as well. All right, and that's later on down the line. Okay, but you talk about at that time, the database will be broken down into subsets, okay? Because this database here, which is Access database, it would not be able to handle the functionality that I wanted to. I would actually have to go into a whole new different database application system to manage the data that I'm be using, okay, at that particular time. But at this particular time and moment, since my customer base is very small, this is adequate. You talk about this database right here can handle hundreds of thousands of records at a time, and then I can move the data into a data mart on off station. I can store it in house, and then when I need it, all I gotta do is log in, pull the data back, and the data I need, do the evaluations based on that. Okay. Um, so but anyway, um, that is one of the factors there. So all I was saying is that once it gets to project group ID, then at that particular time, that customer will start being billed, okay, for the services we are doing. Okay, you understand that, right? So we're gonna go back to the video, right? And we're going to continue on. I'm gonna make sure I had everything right. Boom, 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 boom. We went through the tables. Okay, and like I say, I found out that I have to link these two tables up based on the order number because this right here is where the client is actually first engaged our company, and then once we submit the information back to um, a corporate accounting, it once there's triggers in there, and then of course there's another temp table that goes in as well. But that information will go from the temp table and then be pushed to this table, the corporate table, and once we go into the next part, which is um, this particular table here, right? Which is the accounting table. Now, this accounting table based on this data, and I have not like actually ran the table because I want to make sure this tracking table um, is pulling information that I needed, right? But this may not be the table that I'm looking for because this table right here um, already has the counting information in it. The project has already been serviced, right? But I'm thinking at this particular phase, once it gets to the counting table and it is approved, okay? Once this information is approved um, for that time, then what we would do, we will assign it, and it should have the information in here. Okay, has a customer number. Do it have a project number? Okay, build status. Okay, so what we're gonna need to do is find out what is the project number, right? So we have to figure out. So we have to pull in the project database. So I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna say project. I'm gonna see project. Oh shoot. Let me see. Project breakdown, project team assigned, project agreement, project build, list. And I think it's this table right here. I'm not sure. So what I would do, I'm gonna need to create another query, and start bringing in some of these tables. Bringing some of these tables because I need to find out exactly at what point. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back into the video and I'm going to continue on the video, but I don't want to lose track of what I'm doing, okay? Because basically, what I want to do, I want to go into the project uh, uh, table, right? And so what I'm going to have to do is I have this table here. Let me see this table. Where am I at? Design view. Run this. Okay, so this right here, this sign project, comp manager. Okay, it says this right here. So this, I think, this particular table right here is after we assign the project to the client. All right, this is when the project. Now this is before all of the other stuff takes place, right? But the thing is, will we need to, okay, we may need to use this table, but I'm thinking that I may need to pull in another table as well. And that's what I'm going to look at right now. I'm going to look at, and then I'm going to go back to the video. I think it's a project build listing. Let me see. Let me see. What's this? Product ID. We have this. Then we have some duplicates here that we're not supposed to have as well. Okay, here. But well, these are the actually ones here. But then we have these two. And I think these two is actually a replica of something I'm already doing. Okay, so I guess this one, this one. So I'm gonna look at this one, and I want to see something here. It won't do both of these. Okay, it won't do it. So this and the bottom one, this one, this one. So I want to see. I'm gonna go all the way back and see. Both is 1 and 1. This is 4 and 1. Do they have two different? Um, okay, they have the same service group. They have the same. They have the same order number. Different project request numbers. Okay, so that's not okay. So we need to research that. All right, but I want to look at the this. So the customer number. Okay, yeah, we got two customer numbers. So what we would need to do this project listing, and I'm gonna look at something else as well. Intro. It wouldn't even be at this phase yet, but I'm gonna look at this table. Okay. All right. So okay. So we'd be. So it wouldn't even be at this phase yet, as far as the one that I'm basing on, but I need to be able to grab a group of information that will give me some factoring information. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay. The set bill and all this other things right here. That's based on the different uh sets. Okay. So we got this and this and this and that. Okay, so I'm thinking that this particular tape right here, right? And we're not at this step yet, right? Um, and I'll have to look at the and be based on the order number, right? So if I look at this right here, project this right here, and I want to know which one I was looking at. This is B, right? And I want to put this here, and I'm gonna pull this data based on the order number, right? Now I won't be doing the tracking, right? But I'm just going to look at something right quick. And I know I'm jumping ahead of myself, all right? Because I'm doing research analysis why I'm actually working it. So I have the order number here, and I'm gonna try to pull back the order number on this form as well. Let me shorten this up a little bit. So we have the order number here, and I want the order number in this table here. So the order number is the order number here, high or low. Is the order number here? don't see an order number. So I'm thinking that the order number drops off in this table. I think. Because it's really not. See, and I think the reason why the order drop off because at this stage we should be tracking it by. At this particular stage, we should be tracking it by the the customer number. So I'm gonna look at the customer number. Maybe. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this a bit and pull it back and see. Customer number. So I'm gonna look at the customer number. What the heck? Customer number. Okay. So this will be based on the customer number. Okay. So I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna run this query and see what happens. Okay. So we got 4 records. All right, which is okay. All right. Because what's going to happen is that this particular table right here, and what I'm going to do here, even though it's pulling information from the tracking table, which it shouldn't be at this particular stage, it shouldn't be tracking it. Because we're doing evaluation of whether or not we want to um, grab this client or not, or work with this client. So in this particular table right here, it's when the record has been identified that we possibly want to work with the client, so we're moving forward on a project phase. So it wouldn't even be in this table as well. Okay, if you understand what I'm saying. So there's another table that it would be in. Okay, and of course it wouldn't be in this table, like I said, because that's when the project is moving forward to the build process. There's another table. Let me go back because I'm gonna have to look for it. It is where's the table? And it's a temp table, right? It's let me see, where is it? See if I can find. Here it is, right here. Okay. Okay, so it's this table here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look at this table here, and I think the tracking table is not relevant to in this particular situation. I think that the counting table, okay, is right because of the fact that it's supposed to be in that table. So, um, and I want to make sure I grab the information right. Okay, billing. It's not the billing. Tracking. Active project worksheet. Approved project sets. Build project. Customer client. So I'm looking for corporate accounting. So I'm gonna look at corporate accounting, right? First, all right. So and again, I'm gonna go by. There's 2 things. Okay, we got the new pending ID and new pending ID. Okay. First of all, I'm gonna run it based on this. I'm gonna grab all of this data. I already know what's in this table here because I already ran it. So I'm gonna pull this data down, pull this up, and I'm gonna run it. Okay. So we got 3. See, and we actually pulled this record back. Okay. So it does have that, right? So that's good. Okay. So it has the new pending table. Okay. Right. It has a new pending table and it has this corporate table here. So because what happens is that this table pushes the information into this table here. And in return, it pushes information into It's another table. It's another table that it uses. I think it's the accounting table, but you know, I think it's this table right here. But I have to go back and check it. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do? Let me save this because I need to save it. Oh, I had to save the query. Okay. So what I'm going to do, basically, I'm going to go back to the. See, I wasn't even listening to myself. So what I'm going to do is, after what I was doing, okay, and basically what I was doing, I was going back to making sure most of these tables right here are syncing up with each other because of the fact that in my factoring process, a lot of this information will have to be considered. I'm going to pull a lot of information back, into the factoring table, okay, to come up with the calculations I need to figure out whether or not this table or whether or not this customer is going to be moved forward, okay, and if we're going to finance that customer, okay, because what happens once we get all this information done and we start doing our calculations, and doing our running our reports, looking at this, running our reports and looking at everything. Then we're gonna come up with an ideal, okay, or a solution, okay, and present it to the customer. And say, okay, listen, based on the information we have and the calculation we ran, this is how much it's going to cost. All right, but we can do this and we can do that and we can do this. All right. So that is what's going to happen. Okay. But what I'm would like to do right now, I would like to go ahead and finish running the video. Okay. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and finish running the video so we can look at it, and then I'm gonna do my documentation. All right. So okay, let's finish looking at it because I might have to speed up and make sure that you can hear that that's being financed. Okay, so we can have a project number to work on a project, and the project can be assigned to a team, and all we're waiting on is funding. Let me go back a little, guys, and push us back the file so we okay. But the buttons, clicking and initiating this, initiating that, that is something we have to be assured because we don't want to put a lot of code into something and find out it's garbage. All right. You want to make sure the application work, and then you design the code to mimic what is actually happening with the macros. Okay. Got me? So we create a different database, same setup, and we start coding it. So if I put in this information and I push a button, this is supposed to happen. We're to make sure that happens in the code. Okay? You understand? But we're a little ways from that right now. The reason why I'm not coding because for that, this database, okay, at no time will we be able to work at our capacity, be able to work over X amount of projects at a time, okay, with the team we have, unless we outsource a lot of our projects, okay? So I'm gonna speed this up. Yeah, order number. Order number's 4. Click it. Okay, so there's a couple of things that need to take place here. All right. For one thing is that there's no department location, all these different things. See, all these gonna be okay. Some of this we already discovered. Okay, what the problem was with these different things here. So since we already discovered the fact that a lot of this information here is already completed, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward that because we already found a solution with that because we already talked through that. Under this approval code, under this department, right, location, this customer will be working on this project. Okay, and we will do another query based on that. It's pulled, and we have the information, right? And we run the factor to approve, right? Once we run the factor to approve, What my factoring table at? We really don't have to go through all of this video like this because we already went through it. We already did a rough already. So we already have an idea what we need to do. Okay, and basically um, everything that you see here was basically a thought process of those tables. I already have them predefined here. This is one of the queries, and I think I was looking at some other things too, but I'm gonna get into that a little later. Um, It says the factor to approve funded account button is located on the account approval. Okay, just okay. We had that form open. When say the button when engaged opens the factor to approve funded account. We talked about all that. Went through that. Went through that. Okay, we've been through all this process. We actually solved a lot of problems. Okay, so is none, and it's not being as okay. So we already went through this. Okay, in our previous discussion. Okay, but I'm just gonna like I said, I'm gonna speed through this. Some of this information, like you have a lot, all this information, resources, everything like that. We already been through that. We already talked about that. Um, so we already resolved this issue here. So the only thing I had to do right now, and I'm gonna stop this video. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out because that's over. Okay. I think the only thing that I have to do right now, to this point, is to work on these queries, right? This client and corporate account query, right? Which is this. These are pulling back this information, and we have discovered based on that, right? We had this number 3. We ran this query. It is also pulling back 2, 9, and 2, 9, and 10. So we have one pulling 1, 2, 3, and 10. All right. And what we're going to do, we're going to look at what um, customer numbers is it pulling, right? So we're going to go back to 3, and we're going to look and see what customer numbers is it pulling. Okay. So the customer is 6, 12, and 10. All right. 6, 12, and 10. And this is 6, 12, and 10. This one here, okay, is an independent um, um, that I'm working on. Of course, I'm not going to charge myself, but the other 3 that is pulling, which are these 3, are the ones going to be factored. Okay, so we have this one here, the counting one. So if I run this one, this gives us these, right? Let me see. We'll go ahead and design customer accounts, customer accounts. Go here, and then this one, and then I think what I would do is I would run, and I'm gonna name this table. I'm gonna name this query. This will be 1. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say this right here. I'm going to rename the query pool. Okay, and query pool eval factors. Okay, this right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save this. Okay, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna close it because we already have it, right? And I'm gonna rename it, right? maybe I'll just say I'll just put numbers behind them. Okay, because I'm gonna have to rename them again anyway. So you got this one and this right here. Okay, I'm gonna name this save as. I'm gonna name this um, for, right, and I don't think I'm gonna need to name that one. And this right here, okay, I think I'm see customer this, and this right here is pending customer. So I'm gonna rename, save this, name this 5. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, and I have this query here, okay, but this query here is basically, I think this is after the fact, but I'm gonna look at it and see accounting. So accounting, this right here is this. The third one is accounting. Okay, and then we have this one. Okay. Okay, so we need to figure out what we're gonna do with these tables here. Okay. But I think like these tables here is after the project has actually been initiated. I don't know if I'm gonna pull that information in there, but it will be monitored. Okay, but I'm sure that these tables here, these table results right here, is the ones we're gonna be factoring, and these are ones we're gonna be pushing. Excuse me, these are the ones we're gonna be pushing through. Okay, so let me look at this one. We have this pool of 4, 5. Okay, I'll leave it at 6. We don't have nothing else, so we just have these two. Okay, so we have 2. We have 3, 4, 5. I don't see 3 though. Okay, so we got 3, 4, and 5. And what we'll do, we'll find out what we're going to do with these tables, right? Um, 3, 4, where 3 at? Uh, so we have 3. Okay. Okay, 3. So we got 3, 4, and 5. So we have this query, right? We'll pulls the data that's going to be factored, right? The fourth query is pulling data, and it seems like both of them are pulling. You see that some of them have more information than others. This right here, the office tracking ID. These don't have the office tracking ID, so you know this is going to be updated, right? 3 they have this. They have the customer number. Had the court number. These don't have all the court numbers, and like I said, we have to come up with some idea why they don't have them run this query here. We have these. You got 2, 3, and 20. 25, and I think that's because the table is coming from. But we're looking at 2, 9, 2, 9, and 10. 2, 9, and 0. And then this one, independing. We get 1, 2, and 9. Pending. 1, 2, and 9, and 5. We got 2, 9, and 10. And we got to find out why this is showing that right there. Okay. But we're going to update the table, right? So we're going to look at the order number next. See what the order numbers look like. We have order numbers. This 1 through 4. This got 6, 12, and 10. Custom numbers 6, 12, and 10. 6, 12, and 10. So we don't have 4. Okay. We're going to get it together. So it doesn't have 4. 6, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 1 is actually my personal one. So it's 2, 3, and 4. And this right here. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So we'll figure it out. All right. So okay. I really think that we have come to a positive conclusion on all of this. I think I'm really satisfied of where we are right now. Okay. All we got to do now is document the information. All right, in here of where we are, and then make sure once we get all the facts in line, um, put it in our process document for the factor to approve funded accounts. All right, make sure all that is in there in place. Okay, make sure there's rules, and then we're gonna sign those factoring results. Okay, those factoring results to a factoring ID, right? Which I had. Let me see if I can find it and put it on pause right quick. Okay, so what happened is that once we come up with, we have these queries here, right? Once we get the results we want, we will list these queries as refactoring. Okay, these refactoring groups, right? And we will actually assign these factoring queries an ID, right? Once we get everything together, and then how we're gonna be grouping them, right? And the specifications, we'll come up with a specification code, which we'll write out, right, and sign that to a specification code. So we can go to the specifications document, and we can query down to the specification document, and it will tell us exactly what that factoring ID entails and why we are grouping them. All right, and then we have the definitions of that, and the specifications would be related, to why we are doing it, and then the factoring rule definitions. It can be something that we have in place as a standard, and what we do updates to that manual, okay, or that manual, okay. All right. So, of course, then we have page numbers and everything like that, but that's different. Okay, that's something that's going to happen a little later. All right. I just want to make sure that in this video that I'm about to produce, have all the facts of what I'm trying to do. Okay. All right. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate you sticking with me. And again, I thank you for um, listening. I would like for you to like my video. I would like for you to share it, put a comment, and as well, I would like for you to click the alarm button. Okay, so if there are any other videos, which they will be, a lot of other videos that I upload, you will be alerted. Okay, and always remember, okay, these are ideals. You can incorporate your own ideals. You can create your own world. You can create your own um, pedestal, okay, in which you dwell. Okay, no one can tell you what you can and cannot do. You are the leader of your future. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day.